Here we have layers and layers and layers of happiness. Guys, I went to Bologna, I found the best lasagnas, and I wanted to bring them to you, to your kitchen. And this is the original and best lasagna recipe for you. You guys ready? Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. Did you know the original lasagna from Bologna doesn't use any mozzarella? There is a secret ingredient that takes your lasagna to the next level. I'm gonna take you all the way to Bologna with this lasagna. We need to make fresh spinach lasagna sheets for the original lasagna from Bologna. You can't make the original lasagna from Bologna with normal pasta sheets. If you go to a restaurant in Bologna, they always use green lasagna sheets. So we need 100 grams of fresh spinach, 500 grams of all-purpose flour or 00 flour, 4 large eggs, and just a pinch of salt. For the filling of our lasagna, we're going to use a Béchamel sauce, Bolognese Ragù, and Parmigiano Reggiano. Let's cook the spinach. So what we do is we put the flame on a medium-high heat, get a deep pan, and we put 100 grams of spinach in it. There is no need to add any oil or anything. I'm going to add a little pinch of salt, not too much, because we're going to put salt in the pasta water when we boil the pasta. Now this will take cooking about 30 seconds, okay? So all you want to do is to stir the spinach. And once they cook, we're going to turn the spinach into cream. The spinach are cooking very fast. You can feel the water getting out of the spinach. You know they're ready when they shrink. So as you can see, this is not ready yet. It needs to shrink. All of them need to shrink. You see the water there from the spinach? Stir. See the spinach are ready. And you see they're nicely cooked. Look at that. And now we're ready to make the cream. Look, from 100 grams of baby spinach, that's what you get. The shrink. What we need to do now is to blend spinach and eggs together. I like to break the eggs in a bowl, just to make sure we don't have any eggshells breaking in the mix. When you make fresh pasta, you don't want eggshells in your pasta dough. Unfortunately, sometimes it can happen, so always keep an eye on it. The reason why we're using the entire egg is because we need both benefits from the white and the yolk. The white actually has more proteins than the yolk, so extremely important to use the entire egg when you make fresh pasta. We can put the eggs in the mix. We can add the spinach. The only way to get the cream out of the spinach is to blend them. If you don't want to add eggs in the blender, that's okay. You can still beat them with your hands, but the spinach needs to be blended. It needs to be completely blended, creamy. And here we go. This is the beautiful spinach and egg mix that we get. See the consistency? Nice and runny. Now it's time to have fun. Let's make pasta. So, 500 grams of flour. Now with the flour, we want to make a well. It's very important to make a well when you make pasta, okay? Perfect. Here we have enough space to fit this mix and to make sure it doesn't escape. You can use a stand mixer to make pasta dough. That's very easy with a stand mixer, but please don't use blenders to make pasta dough because the blender kind of destroys the structure of the pasta, okay? It kind of creates spider webs inside the pasta dough. Use your hands to make the dough or use a stand mixer, which is great. All right, now we add eggs and spinach cream. Now you can use your hands or a fork. I'm going to use my hands and add a little bit of flour, a little bit at a time. Don't forget, we don't want the mix to escape, okay? Otherwise we're going to have a mess on a bench. What we do now, we gently mix the flour with the eggs and spinach. This will become thicker and thicker, you will see. Just use one hand for now, okay? Okay, it's not liquid anymore, it's not runny anymore. So now we can mix everything with the flour. At this point, use a scraper to scrape the bottom. First, put everything together. Try to combine the spinach mix. I'm going to use my other hand and try to combine all these ingredients. Now, because these ingredients are wet, they will absorb the flour, okay? But it's a process, you need time. You need about 10-15 minutes to make a pasta dough with your hands. But what I want you to do from now is to use the palm of your hand to push forward and back, forward and back. Just this way. This is the technique I like to use, so you can try using. Don't worry if your dough might seem a little bit dry. You need to use your hands. The moisture from your hands will help to make the dough softer, okay? You need to do that, so don't panic. At the moment, I feel like my pasta needs a little bit more moisture, okay? So what I have here is a little bit of water. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to wet my hands, just like that. Don't use too much water, just wetting my hands. And now my wet hands are gonna touch the dough again, okay? I don't wanna add water into the dough, just moisture, okay? If your dough is gonna be too wet, then you need to add more flour. But in this case, the dough is just requiring more moisture. And now, see, now, all the rest of the flour will go on the dough. You can also add a little bit of water on the flour here, and now we keep going. As you can see, the moisture is helping to absorb all the flour. At this point, I can feel that the dough just needs to be kneaded. You don't need any more water. Just use your hands. All right, can you see how I'm massaging the dough, but I don't like this. I don't like how it's breaking, so I don't like what's happening here. So let's put more water on my hands. Great. Put on the dough, and now we should be able to finish it off. Just the extra moisture that it needs. See, now we have like a play dough, if you know what I mean. Guys, to me, this pasta dough, it's ready. Let's push on, so you bounce it back, just like a pizza dough. See the bounce back technique? That also tells you when the pasta is kind of ready. Now let's cover the dough with some plastic wrap. And what we want to do is we want to keep this in the fridge for about 30 minutes because we need to build the gluten inside and make sure the spinach, the flour and eggs make love together. Look how beautiful this pasta looks after half an hour. I want to show you the structure that we built. Look at that. See, we built the gluten in a pasta. See that? And what we're going to do now is stretch this into lasagna sheets. Now the piece can be as big as you want. Just keep in mind that the more you use, the longer your lasagna sheets will be. Then you have to cut it down. Now with the pasta machine, the first thing you need to do is to sprinkle some flour. Okay, you just want some of that. The flour keeps your pasta machine alive for a long time. We need to start by using the wide setting, and then gradually we go down to the tight setting. This is a lasagna. I want these pasta sheets to be thick. I don't want them to be too thin, okay? We're not making tagliatelle. So I'm gonna go all the way to probably number 6 on this machine. Now my machine goes all the way to number 9, but I think I'm gonna stop at number 6. From number 1, here we go. Okay, see, now we're gonna fold it, and we'll fold again. What we need to do in the first step is to let all the bubbles out. We don't want any bubbles in our pasta, okay? Okay, here we go. And I would fold again, just one time. We put it through the machine again. And here we go, okay. I think now we can fold one more time, just because I want to have a nice shape. And we put it in this way. Great, okay, now we're ready to stretch it. Now from number 1, we go to number 2. Okay? Let's make our pasta sheets longer. And here we go. I might fold these again on number 2. No more folding from now on, okay? I don't see any bubbles. That was the last bubble. You heard the sound? Now we go number 3. Look how much it's stretching. So from number 3, now we're gonna go to number 4. I'm not skipping any numbers here. All right, as you can see the thickness, see the thickness here? I can already see my fingers. We're only on number 4, and I actually like the thickness of these lasagna sheets. So I might go one more to number 5, not number 6. I think number 5, even though this is perfect for me, I think I'm gonna do number 5. I really wanna guide, this is more delicate, this part, you really wanna guide your pasta here. Guide it. You don't want to have the pasta stuck on the edges, otherwise you're going to have a bit rough edges, which is still okay. Doesn't look as pretty. Look what I have. I have a beautiful lasagna sheet. You can see my fingers. I do like the thickness of this pasta, and I think this is what you guys should do, in my opinion. That's what I ate in Bologna. It was this thick, and it was fantastic. What I'm trying to do now is to cut lasagna sheet the same size as the Pyrex to, I would say we already have a layer of pasta sheets here, which is great. We're gonna place our pasta sheets straight on a kitchen paper, kitchen towel, like that. Separate them, you don't want them to get stuck, okay? If you have a hot environment where you are, the temperature is hot, let me tell you, they can get stuck. So make sure they don't touch each other, okay? It's very humid here where I am, and they can get stuck. I will spread a little bit of flour on top. Now we cover this, and we put more here. Make sure you always cover them, because if they dry up, it's not pleasant. Ingredients for a large family batch. Half kilo of pork. Pork is very important. It adds flavors and is nice and tender. Half kilo of beef. Marco taught me to use only beef because some people do not like veal. I love veal. So if you love veal, I would say 300 grams of beef, 200 grams of veal. But if you have people that come over and they don't like the idea of eating veal, only use beef. 100 grams of pancetta. This is the secret ingredient that Marco taught me. Pancetta. 1 brown onion chopped into pieces. Dave used red onion. Marco used brown onion, and I think the brown onion is a bit more delicate. 2 celery sticks chopped into pieces. 3 carrots chopped into pieces. Try and cut the onion, celery, and carrots into the same size. 1 bottle of Italian passata. 100 grams of tomato paste. 400 grams of peeled tomatoes, a small can. 1 standard glass of red wine. You can also use white wine if you want a more delicate sauce, but trust me, both Marco and David use red wine and it's bold. 1 mug of full cream milk, but this is optional. If you don't want to use milk, you don't have to use it. Extra virgin olive oil, salt and pepper. First thing to do is to mince the pancetta. You can use a knife or the blender. So let's blend it. We want the pancetta to disappear in the sauce, but this adds incredible flavors to your bolognese. Let's get a large pot. We cook this sauce on a medium-low heat all the way, okay? It's gonna be cooked for a long time. First thing to cook is the pancetta, but what we do is we put a little bit of oil, about 2 tablespoons, and now we add the pancetta. Pancetta is used in many restaurants in Bologna, and it's also included in the original recipe of Bolognese sauce. Now what we have to do here is to make the pancetta sweat. We want the pancetta to release the oil from the fat, and then once it's done that, we can cook the soffritto. Now we add onion and celery, carrots. We're going to cook the soffritto for about 10 minutes. Now I like to put the lid on, so the steam helps to cook a soffritto better. What's important here is that we don't burn a soffritto. So every couple of minutes, go and check and stir. All right, let's stir a soffritto. See how the pancetta is releasing even more oil. Mincing the pancetta is very important because, as you can see, it's already mixing up with the soffritto. Very powerful step. This is the secret ingredient, guys. Oh, can you smell this? I'm just happy to eat this soffritto. I'm just happy with that. I don't need anything else. Now it's been 7 minutes and our carrots are soft. We're gonna cook it about 2 more minutes before we add the meat. So let's put a splash of red wine. Mix it, and the wine will help to tenderize the soffritto and get everything ready for the meat to join. Close it and see you in 2 minutes. It's been 10 minutes since we added the vegetable, the soffritto. The onions are cooked and the carrots are nice and soft. Now it's time for the meat. Let's add a little touch of extra virgin olive oil in the middle. And now we cook the meat. Beef and pork. Now while it cooks, break it. We don't need to cook the meat too much. We just need to change the color to gray because the meat will slow cook in the tomato sauce for a long time. Let's mix it with everything. Now can you see that we still have some raw meat? We basically want the meat to become kind of gray, okay? Now that the meat became nice and gray in color, we add the rest of the wine. Put the wine now. What the wine is doing, the wine is adding beautiful flavors. The wine adds flavors, but the alcohol will evaporate. So even if you don't drink wine, don't worry about it. Now what we do is we mix and we wait for the wine to evaporate, which is gonna take about 10 minutes, I would say. Please don't put the wine in the tomato sauce, please. The wine goes in the meat. Once the alcohol evaporates and the wine and meat made love together, you add the tomatoes. This is the moment where we start putting salt and pepper. So let's put a generous amount of salt and as much pepper as you like. Can you see the liquid that we have here from the meat? Well, this is full of flavors. Let's work with that. Let's make sure that this gives the beautiful flavors to our sauce, okay? It's been about 10 minutes that we cooked the meat. And as you can see, the meat is beautiful. We add the tomato paste. Now the liquid will help the tomato paste to kind of revive and add extra flavors to the meat. Make sure you spread the tomato paste everywhere. Can you see how the tomato paste is already absorbing all the beautiful liquid? Can you see? Look how much absorbed already, look at that. This is the other liquid we're gonna use, okay? So, tomato passata. The final ingredient is the peeled tomatoes we're going to add. The peeled tomatoes are going to all the sauce. Now, from now, we're going to cook this sauce for about 4 hours and stir every half an hour. Very important detail. There are 2 cooking styles of Bolognese. One with the lid, one without. When the lid is not on, the water will kind of evaporate, so you need to add more liquid. But the technique that we use today is covering the sauce with the lid. So we keep the liquid inside, we keep it moist inside, we keep the flavors inside. Both techniques are very good. But the one without the lid, you need to add more liquid. This one with the lid needs less liquid. And I believe will make a richer sauce. All right, it's been 1 hour. Let's see how the sauce looks. Beautiful. Oh, look at that. You can start squashing the peeled tomatoes at the moment. Can you see how wet the sauce is? That's because of the lid. We keep the lid on for another 2 hours, and the last hour we do it without the lid. We have 3 more hours to go. The next 2 hours with the lid on, and we stir every 30 minutes. And the last hour we remove the lid because that's when we want to make a sauce thicker. The sauce has been cooking with the lid on for about 3 hours. So it's now time to take the lid off. Look at that. Now stir very well. Look how rich this sauce is. Look how rich. Try and squash that peeled tomato, okay? Try and squash it. And look at that. The sauce is nice and wet. We didn't have to add any liquids, any water to this bolognese. And this is a very important technique used by my friend Marco, which I completely agree with him. I love this. At this point, what we're going to do, we put a nice amount of salt, as much as you like. Put some pepper, as much as you like. Now take off the lid, no more lid. And we're gonna cook this sauce for an extra hour. Final hour, the most important one. Go and stir it as much as you can. We want to make sure the meat doesn't get stuck to the bottom, because if it does, then it's gonna burn. We don't want that, okay? What I recommend you is, if it dries up for any reason earlier than 1 hour, okay, switch off the stove. If you think that your stove is too high, put it down. This should be low, very low. For the last hour, very, very low. We don't want to burn the meat. But as you can see, I've got this surface of water up here, but that means that it's drying up at the bottom. So we always want the water to move around the pot. Ooh, this beautiful smell. It's been 4 hours in total. This sauce has been cooking for 1 hour now without the lid. As you can see, it's not wet anymore. And look at that, look how beautiful. What I'm amazed about is that we didn't use any water or any broth or anything. The sauce didn't need any water. So we are gonna have maximum flavors in the sauce. Now, when you look at the sauce, you can say, do I need the milk or not? We're going to taste a little bit of sauce. We need to see if we need more salt. We need to see if it needs the milk. It's beautiful, but it just needs more salt. You put as much salt as you want. I've got some full cream milk here, okay? It's not necessary, but I believe a little touch, a little splash of milk, just like that, will make a sauce more delicate. Look what the milk is doing. By adding the milk in there, you're changing the color. The milk boosts the flavors, okay, in this. It really combines, it really brings everyone together, okay? And look at that. You know what? I can put another splash of full cream milk. Look how beautiful, look how much the color is changing already. Now we want to cook the milk for about 5 minutes, and you don't need to stir. It's been 5 minutes, I switched off the stove, and look at the sauce. Look how wonderful, rich. This is comfort food that is best. Our spinach pasta sheets are done. The bolognese sauce is ready. Let's make the bechamel sauce. To make bechamel sauce, we need 500 milliliters of fresh milk, 50 grams of flour, 50 grams of butter, and a pinch of nutmeg. We're gonna cook the bechamel sauce on a medium-low heat. Start with the butter. Don't rush this, okay? Let's gently melt the butter. The butter completely melted. Now we're gonna add the flour, okay? Get it off the stove, and let's start adding the flour. Quickly stir. This is all off the stove, okay guys? Off the stove. See, now we have a beautiful kind of cream. See this cream that we have from the butter and the flour? Now we can start adding the milk. Just add a little bit of milk at a time. A little bit of milk at a time. And mix. Now try to avoid also to create lumps, okay? We don't want lumps. But can you see how quickly it dries? Let's add more milk. And mix. See, it's getting thicker very quickly. So let's add the rest of the milk. Actually, we've got a little bit more left. So you got some at the bottom, scrape the bottom. We don't want that, otherwise that will turn into lumps. You don't want that. You need to fill it. If you feel like it's getting thicker, very quickly add the rest of the milk. Now here we add the leftover. All the milk goes in, and now this is the final stage of bechamel. Now off the stove, let's add a little bit of nutmeg because it's going to give beautiful flavors to the bechamel. And this is the consistency that you want, okay? It's kind of thick but slightly runny, so it will be easy to spread on our lasagna layers. Now we have to boil the lasagna sheets in boiling hot water for about 30 seconds. Here I have a bowl of water and ice because we're going to boil the lasagna sheets and then put them straight in here to stop the cooking. Okay, put 1 tablespoon of sea salt in the boiling water. Now we're going to boil 2 pasta sheets at a time for about 30 seconds in total. Now be careful when you take it out, you don't want to break them. And we put them straight in the ice. So we stop the cooking process. Now let's get a tray, put some baking paper on top or whatever, and we let the lasagna sheets rest on this, okay? And at this point, they're not gonna get stuck together anymore, so you can put them on top of each other. And now we're ready to assemble the lasagna. To assemble this lasagna, I'm using a Pyrex tray, which is 11 inches long, 7.5 inches wide, and 3 inches deep. With the original lasagna, you need to make at least 6 or 7 layers. You cannot make less than that, or it's not original anymore. So it's gonna be a nice thick lasagna. All right, guys, we start from the bechamel, okay? It's very important that you don't mix the bechamel and the sauce together, okay? Let's put our pasta sheet at the bottom. Wow, look at that. It's perfect. I'm gonna add 2. Right there, right at the bottom, okay? Now here, I'm going to add the meat, the Bolognese sauce. But guys, do not go crazy. You don't need to over add. You need to put just enough to make sure that every bite you have the meat, but not too much. Don't overpower it, okay? Now we're gonna put the bechamel everywhere. So it's nice and runny. Now it's time for the Parmigiano Reggiano, but not too much. Maybe I would say 2 tablespoons per layer, okay? What you need to keep in mind is that you don't put Bolognese sauce on the top. You don't do that, okay? Don't put that. Now, on a normal lasagna I will put a plain basil sauce on top. In this case, we're making an original Bolognese sauce, and what you do, you put bechamel on top. So you cover the top with bechamel sauce. Oh, that's yummy. Smells so good. It's a good thing that our lasagna doesn't go all the way to the top. We've got enough gap to put the alfoil. When we cook the lasagna, we don't want the alfoil to touch the top part. Now we're going to bake this wonderful lasagna at 180 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. Okay guys, here we go. Time to reveal the lasagna. Let's see. Oh great, oh amazing. Good thing you see, the lasagna didn't get stuck to the alfoil. You only have a little bit of bechamel there. It's fantastic. Only one restaurant in Bologna added the Parmigiano Reggiano on top. And I liked it. I like the Parmigiano, not too much. Just put a little bit on top. And what we want to do now is to put it back in the oven for about 5 minutes because we want to make all the edges nice and crunchy and we want this cheese also to melt, okay? We don't want to burn it, but melt. No alfoil, and then back in the oven for about 10 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius. Look how stunning this lasagna is. Look how amazing. I've got these beautiful crunchy edges here. If you do want the extra crunch, you can put them under the broiler until it becomes as crispy as you like. But for me, this is perfection. I've got a beautiful cheese melted, the bechamel sauce melted, and these crunchy bits on the sides. Ooh. Now, many people would say, I want to eat that right now, nice and hot. And this is also how it's served in Bologna, nice and hot. But in my opinion, and in many other people's opinion, is you wait until it goes warm, not hot, from hot to warm. You cut it, it keeps the shape together, and it's easier to enjoy. But if you like your food very hot, like boiling hot, then have it right now. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Let's cut the lasagna. I'm gonna use a tomato knife, or you can use a bread knife. And let's see. Yeah, nice and moist. Nice and moist and crunchy on the sides. Just the way I want them. Ooh. Yes. So we have about 6 large portions here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Wow, wow, look at that meat. Look at that meat on the sides. Look at that. Oh, sensational. You guys ready? Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. This is why I love the Bolognese lasagna so much. Look at that. There's no cheese. Just a little bit of Parmigiano, but we've got the Béchamel there, separated to the sauce, so you really get to taste both. You know, with a beautiful enough amount of meat. Look at that. I think this lasagna deserves a little bit more Parmigiano on top. Do you agree? Layers of beautiful spinach pasta sheets, so full of flavors. The meat is there and the bechamel right on top. A great balance, great combination of flavors. Look, it looks cheesy to be honest, but there is no cheese in there. This is so great. How many layers do we have here? 6, 7 layers? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All the flavors are balanced so well, so well. Wow. Layers and layers and layers of happiness. I can't stop eating this. Look, I can even use my fork. I don't need a knife. Oh, so beautiful and tender. Oh, look at the crispy bit. Guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. I will see you on the next Vincenzo's Plate video recipe. E ora si mangia. Oh, the original lasagna.